I'm sorry, I couldn't make it.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
You know, all covered, so I don't have to do the paper.
She just turned 4.
Got one wife that with those. I mean, she's got 2 more to do right now. We'll have another one here in 3
All right, I have 6 o'clock, so I'm going to call this meeting. If you wouldn't mind.
Sure, Ray. Again, I know that they do the opportunity to come together and get business in the city. And there's always the way that we've had our discussions and most importantly our decisions, and we ask to review with each of us and everyone anything that's throughout the event.
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. As always, I'm going to welcome everyone out to the meeting. I say it often, but I really do mean it. And it's nice when people come to these meetings because there's a lot of decisions that go on, and glad that people can be involved. I wish more people would come to these meetings. Can I have a roll call, please?
Yes. Jim Hendy?
Here.
Kenny Edmondson? Carissa Hewitt? Here. Clay Prepper?
Here.
Ron Maddox?
Here.
And I will note Miss Sarah Cummins is not here this evening.
And that constitutes a quorum. So you have a copy of the agenda before in front of you. Is there anything that you would like added to the agenda? Entertain a motion to accept this. Motion by Jim to accept the agenda as presented, second by Ron. All in favor, show of hands. All right, motion carries. You have a set of minutes. I'll put them up on the screen. Let's do these real quick. From the last meeting. One thing before we get started, I promised him I wouldn't do good this morning, but I'm going to embarrass him anyway. Today is Councilman Maddox's birthday, and I just wanted to wish him a public happy birthday, and I know I'm going to pay for that. Mine is Wednesday. So, but I just wanted to take that opportunity to wish him a happy birthday. I did tell him that the difference between mine being on Wednesday and his on today is I don't have a council meeting on my birthday. So, all right. Today is October 1st is first day of the new month, so police and fire have asked for their reports to be pushed back to the second meeting, which is fine. So, Rob here. Okay, there is one water report. I'll put that up so you can see it. Everything tested fine for that. For those of you who probably noticed, there was an accident in front of Miss Edmondson's house. I guess that was Friday. Yeah, Friday morning. Happened early in the morning. Vehicle lost control, spun off into the grass and actually hit the hydrant. Believe it or not, it makes a muddy mess, but it's nothing like Hollywood. There wasn't 50 foot of water spraying up in the air, but it was quite a soaker. So as you can, maintenance department did spend about, the majority of the day out there replacing that hydrant. It was broke off underground at the valve. I can let Barry explain it if you guys have any questions, but they spent the bulk of the day out there working and repairing on that valve. So that is a new hydrant. Unfortunately, because of where it was, they had to dig quite a big area, a per yard up, which they have since put back, but that's what that mess is out there. If there's any questions about that, maybe Barry can answer. He was part of that. All of the time and expenses for that break were logged separately, which would be turned into the insurance company for the owner of that vehicle. Ken? Sorry.
Gentlemen, I have chairs coming from for you in just 1 second. We'll bring up some chairs for you guys to sit down. We're going to get rid of this.
Ken, move it over to you.
Yeah, this is the numbers for September. Get back a little over 7 million gallons, almost 8 million. About almost 7 inches of rain for the month of September along here as well. So, very unusual amount of rainfall.
As most of you are aware, we did acquire a camera for use of putting through the lines to find infiltration, leaks in the system, things like that. We did get that camera back. Ken, do you know what all was done to that camera? We had to send it back to the factory.
Yeah, it's had a complete overhaul. The camera, if you were to buy it new, is well over $100,000. So we put the repairs back into it. Be right around $11,000 for the repairs. So it's going to be a pretty big asset to the department as far as trying to find some of the infiltration that's coming.
That is back, and
Hopefully by next meeting I'll have it up and running and work out, so we take a look at it if you'd like.
one of the things that we worked with was to try and save money because we didn't have a way, or the team didn't have a way to mount this camera so that they could take it different places. It's a pretty big thing. It's like a skid unit. The old ambulance that you guys surplused a few months ago, but we hadn't sent off to auction yet. We can ask Chief Smith, but I don't think he was expecting to get more than about $500 or $600 out of it, just because of the age and stuff, and setting it to auction. So we held off on that. Ken and I talked about that. So I think Ken's in the process of the sewer department has acquired that vehicle. It's still city property. So we transferred that to the sewer department, and they're retrofitting that to actually be the place for that camera to be mounted. So the camera and operation controls and stuff will be inside, so it won't be on the back of the trailer or just stuck into the back of the pickup truck or something. So, that saved several $1,000s of buying some kind of a gator or trailer or something to pull that around or to build a skid unit. So if you see that truck back into the maintenance building or around, that's what we're doing with that. So Ken, was there anything you wanted to add to that?
No. Like I said, should have it up in a couple of weeks, maybe I'll take a look at it if you want.
Tried to make an effort there to use what we already had. Didn't serve the purpose of an ambulance, but it works good for the service that they were going to need it for. All right, Barry, do you have anything to report for the rec department? Not the bids.
No.
That in a separate section.
Nothing on the
Okay. All right. In parks, I want to remind everyone about Halloween in the park is still scheduled for October 27th, it's Saturday, runs from 3 to 5. I'm sorry, I'm leaving my phone on here. My wife has had surgery today, so she's still at the hospital, and so I'm just keeping an eye on her. But Halloween in the park will be October 27th. It runs from 3 to 5. We've got a tremendous response so far, and we're still 3.5 weeks away from the date. As far as vendors for it, this is really a very little to no cost for us. Parks and tourism helps with we partner with Perry County News on this, and tourism helps with funding for the pumpkins for the kids. So we have 200 pumpkins for the first 200 kids to come in, and decorations and all of that kind of stuff. So I just want to remind you about that. Trick or treat, the hours for that, unless you guys want to do something different, I'd recommend that we set the hours the same as the other cities in the county, and that would be on Halloween itself, and maybe do 6 to 8. If you, is that agreeable to set it the same? Okay. I think that's typically what we do. We'll have a resolution for the official thing for the next meeting, but I just want to talk to you about it. Brent, do you have anything?
Right there I got 2 pictures of the Frisch's building. That's what's out front. The other picture is sort of a close-up of there where it is Welcome to our Ridge. I spoke with them today, and they're setting the grand opening for the 15th of this month, so next 2 Mondays from now, when they should be operational in full force.
So, council members, if you would mark that on your calendar if you're available. The 15th, I'll get you more information on that. It'll be sometime that day. Probably around lunchtime, I'm guessing. They'll probably want to get open for the lunch crowd. All right. So that's great to see Frisch's finally being open. I know they were a couple weeks behind because of the weather earlier. It's been a very wet season. All right.
Next I got there is Life's Eye Media. That actually just takes you to their website. We click on the picture again. I don't know if anybody's seen this car around town. Apparently they are in town filming. They've been hired by the airport board to do a promotional for their website. Some type of like a Griswold vacation. They've been filming around mostly in Dry Ridge, and they're going to be in town tonight filming as well.
They'll be at the
Old Dry Ridge Motor Inn.
the Old Dry Ridge Motor Inn tonight.
And also the Marathon Station next to the train station.
They had 3 filming locations, those 2, and that's where they're at, the parking lot of the Marathon Station, the Penn Station, but they also did some filming out around the bypass. But it's all incorporated into their commercials. It's Are We There Yet, or something like that. It's the name of the project, but it is supposed to be something like Lampoon's Vacation. Not Christmas. I want to keep saying Christmas Vacation. That's not Christmas Vacation. It's one where they went to Wally World. All right, so that's interesting. So we start to see that in some of the advertisements, probably on local television. I'm not sure exactly what If you see that car, that's what that car is. It's been driving around for the last couple of days. If you have seen it. Brent?
Next thing I have there is the public access channel through Cincinnati Bell to Buy Optics for the franchise. It is live and up and working on channel 825 on Buy Optics. Currently, the only feeds we have got are going into it are a few cameras around town, so we're hoping to expand that with the stuff on down to the bids.
The PEG channel was something we negotiated in the franchise agreement with Cincinnati Bell. We're still negotiating a franchise agreement with Spectrum, but PEG access will be in there too, so they don't have, that's not a problem with the PEG access for Spectrum. That way, that's just another method that we have to get the city's information out to the public and disseminate it. And to, obviously we record these council meetings and they're available on our website the next day. This will actually give us the ability to have a platform for it to be viewed live for anybody. The thing that's different, some people will kind of relate the PEG channel to like Williamstown Cable Access. It only works on Williamstown's cable system. And then later on they added it to Spectrum just in the Northern Kentucky, or just in the Grant County footprint. Where this is a little bit different with Buy Optics, this is anywhere in Cincinnati Bell's territory. So from Dayton to south of Fort Ranch is where this PEG channel has access. So it opens that up to a lot more people to see what's going on. And other opportunities for the schools and things like that to use that channel as well. It doesn't cost us anything to have the channel, and there's no recurring cost for it. It was all negotiated. That was one of the successful negotiation points in the franchise agreement. Our only cost will be just the upfront purchases for the equipment, and then anything we want to do with that. With that being said, I think it was probably 2 years ago when I negotiated that contract with Cincinnati Bell. They did provide a $17,000 donation grant to start up the equipment on our side. So we were awarded that $17,000. I'm pretty sure I told you guys about that next. All right, Frank, sorry.
Next is my code, just activity for the month that I did, which is normal. Then permits that were issued, I think there was 3 or 4, maybe signed permits. And that's going to be for where the remodeling are. Items corrected. Wendy's, the owner of the property there got a business license. It's not the person who owns the Wendy's, who owns the lot. And then Pat Highway was a report of items stored on the property. And the next one is the building permits for September through the county. We had 2 in the city, Ray Street for a deck and the remodel on Gold Star.
Any questions for Brent on any of those things that he talked about? All right, nothing to report on from the ABC perspective. I won't go through these unless you want to, but the monthly P&Ls rather for the utility, the road aid, and the general fund. Also, the POs are listed there. We received a letter from tourism today, and I'm going to go ahead and present that to you. This was just a letter of appreciation and thanks for the city's cooperation in the triathlon that the Fitness for Life and Grant County Tourism sponsored. The bulk of it was in Williamstown's area. However, there was a small section that came through Dry Ridge. However, we provided a EMS protection for that event. That they just wanted to send a letter of appreciation and thank you to council and all the employees. There is I know I've talked about this before, it's called MOM, but it's a Market on Main. We talked about this earlier. This is sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce, but this is they're called the Grant County Market on Main, or MOM project. It's a project to give craft food artists and things an opportunity to sell their goods, and give them a way to go, a place to go back and forth between the cities. This was a lot of the concept behind downtown, doing some of the work downtown, was to give a place for this MOM project. The tourism was a little behind on getting this job description, but I wanted to go ahead and pass this job description to you, so you would have it. Not that you have to do anything with it, but at least know about it if somebody says something about the Market on Main, what that is, what it's about. And what they do is they have this job description out right now for the public to look through. And if anyone is interested, there is an application to apply for that directorship and for the board appointments for that. So if you or anyone might be interested, I'm not going to bring up the application, but the application's right there. You can link to it, or you can download it off our website, and that goes to the tourism office. Today is October 1st, so today is the first day of the fourth quarter, which means that our third quarter EMS billing, fire department just got it to me today, so I haven't had a chance to draft letters. However, I did go ahead and post the runs on there, and I do have a summary. So this is kind of what's going out, and this is, as you can see, it's about as, I just wrote this stuff out. But there was one run in Corinth, so we'll send them an invoice for $300. 14 in Crittenden for $4,200 for the third quarter. 31 calls in Williamstown, where remember, all of these calls are calls that meet certain criteria. We have to be dispatched, and we have to transport that patient. If we just go and there's a patient refusal, they don't get billed for that. They only get billed for transports. But there's 31 of those runs in Williamstown for $9,300, and then the county absorbs the calls in Jonesville. The fire department breaks those down, so we know what is actually in the Jonesville area. There were 3 in Jonesville, 173 in the anything other than the incorporated area, so it's 176 total. So that would put about 52.8 for the county's portion for this last quarter. Or the third quarter billing, about $66,600. So those invoices will go out first thing in the morning, as soon as I get a chance, just to put those into their letters and actually print their letters out and send them to them. As I did last time, I do have all of those broken down, and they're just like this, where every single run gives the date, the time, the incident number, a general disposition of the call, the address, and the location for every single of those calls, and then you obviously add all of those up where it's bottom. But you're welcome to look through those if you want to see where each of those runs were, and those numbers is what corresponds with what you get monthly from the fire department in that new column that shows runs by those districts. So I wish I had that completed to show you tonight, but that's all I was able to get done today with everything else that was going on. So, is there any questions on that? Okay, well, I'm going to do something that's a little unorthodox, but I want to take this opportunity. I'm going to come over here to the podium. You're fine. I'll just stand right here. I want to take this opportunity to invite the entire council and the public. I want to explain the situation that we faced last week with the homeless couple in Cody Park. All right. I know there's been a lot of controversy. There's been a lot of people talking on Facebook, a lot of Waffle House, McDonald's, Arby's, conversations that's been going on. And I want to open the floor, and I want, if there's a specific question, I want you to ask me now. And I want to give you the answer now, the correct answer, the truthful answer. It is extremely disheartening to hear what some of the things are that is going around the room. First of all, no one from this city was ordered, issued, or even had anything to do with any fires being started. I did not order anybody to burn the homeless camps down. Okay? If anybody has response to that, I'd love for you to ask me. Because I'm tired of talking to all these people. I want you guys to be able to ask me right now if you have any questions. On or around September 5th, there was a complaint that we received here at the city building about a tent being set up in the park by the tennis courts. It was up on the hill by the trees. I actually was coming back from, I think it was either a chamber breakfast or an IDA meeting that morning, and I came by the park and saw the tent there. I think Rick was there. I know Brent was down there at the time when I came down, or maybe they pulled up right behind me. But I was over in the shelter, in what we call the band shelter, talking to the homeless couple. It was Jeanette, that was the female that was on the news. She told me, I was sitting there talking to her for half hour, 45 minutes, just letting her tell me her story, what their situation was and stuff. Told me they were down on their luck. She was living in Warsaw with her son, and she got kicked out. Her son kicked her out because her son didn't like the gentleman that she was keeping company with, her boyfriend, or she calls her fiance. She said they got kicked out. He put her to the street. She was from this area. She used to live in Meadowview. She was evicted from Meadowview, but she knew of the soup kitchen. So they hitchhiked from Warsaw over here, and so they knew that they could get one free hot, good meal a day. And I think that's fantastic that we have that kitchen here to be able to do that. But what I told her is that is not something you need to rely on. You need to figure out what's going on, because it's going to be getting cold soon. You can't live in the park. You can't live out on the street. You have to find something to do. We talked about some different things. I don't know all of the names, but the other gentleman, I call him Ninja Guy because he walks around. We got complaints about him with a sword at one time. And he had a ninja costume type stuff on. That's the reason why I call him Ninja Guy. I don't know his real name. He was down there too, and we had talked. And he said he was looking for, trying to get a job in the area. And I asked him about the subway. I know they were looking for people up there. So we talked about that a little bit, and I even told him, I said, if you need help, let me know, and I'll talk to the owner of Subway for you and see if there's something he can help you with, get a job, if you need that kind of stuff. But anyway, so I talked to them for a little while, but I told them, I said, look, you guys you're welcome to use a park. It's a public park, but you have to observe the rules. The park closes at midnight. You can't be in the park after midnight. And you definitely can't be camping in the park. So we asked them to take their tent down. I left. I think Rick and Brent left. That was my first encounter with those folks. I had other encounters with some other kids or other people that were living down there. I think it was the next day we got a complaint again about the tent was still up. I asked Rick to go down there and have him move the tents. Okay? They did move the tent. They took the tent down. At that time, they were told that they could not camp there. They had moved. And they were told to go to the other side of the dam to camp. All right? Probably wasn't the place to send them, but regardless, that's where they took their tent. They went down over into the woods somewhere, which we come to find out there's a little village, so to speak, down at the foot of the dam, back in the trees. They camped there for a few days. really didn't hear anything out of them. We had a couple complaints about people walking around, those types of things. And I think it was September 10th, when Barry stopped me, either September 10th or 11th, maybe 12th, or sometime right in there, just a few days after we made him leave the tennis courts. Barry was telling me about the dam, and the slip on the dam. So Barry and I went down there and got in the truck, and the pictures that I actually took that day and showed you, I think 3 council meetings ago, 2 council meetings ago, whenever it was, you can actually see the tent in the background. They had moved the tent on top of the hill, on top of the dam, right behind the fence. And we told them, again, that they couldn't sleep down there. They could not be in the park. That was still the park. More specifically, on the other side of the fence, it has signs that said no trespassing. Obviously, there's a reason why the fence is there. The fence is to keep people from falling off the backside of the dam and falling over the hill. It's a pretty steep dam. It's a 1-to-1 grade back there. It's steep. You can't walk up and down it. Not easily anyway. That's the reason why you're not supposed to be on the other side of that fence. So we asked them to move. I think the police had to go back down there. I know there were several different calls where they were called to go down there and talk to them. Every time they would be talked to, they would move their camp somewhere else. At one point, they told, I think it was David, I'm not sure if Blake was with him, but I know David went down there, and they told him that they were going to move their camp or their tent up on to the property right behind where the camera is there on Lake Street, where the trailer is. They had permission from that landowner, or that homeowner, to camp there. It's private property. We can't tell them anything. My obligation is to make sure the rules in the park are met. Fast forward a few more days, and the complaints really started getting more common. I was getting a lot of complaints from residents on Ray Street complaining about the homeless and walking through their yards, walking through their backyards, walking through their front yards, and they were really concerned about it. One of the residents complained about finding syringe needles in their driveway. Right? I'm not going to go so far as to say that the syringe needle was left by one of those folks. I'm not going to go so far, but I have an obligation as mayor to enforce the ordinances that are on the books. In 1986, the city council, which none of you represent, you weren't sitting on the council then, but in 1986 they enacted an ordinance, 403-1986. It's the rules for the park. It's very clear what those rules say. One of them says you can't be there after midnight, the park closes at midnight, and another one says you can't bring alcoholic beverages in the park. The morning after I got a late night phone call about the syringe needles, I went down to the dam to check it out myself the next morning. As soon as I dropped Cody off from school, I came down and I went down to the spillway. As soon as I topped over the hill, I saw the tent. It had been relocated again, and this time it was set up in the handicap parking space at the fishing parking lot. Okay? There's 3 parking spaces down there, and they're all designated handicap parking spaces. Okay, that's for a reason. So people with disabilities, they can get easily to the lake and get to the fish or enjoy it or whatever. I pulled my truck down there. Shortly after I pulled in, I was getting out of my truck. Ken came up the street from the lift station, and Barry came down the street, and Barry had told me that he had contacted Rick. So somehow Rick was made aware, or Rick called Barry, or something. One way or the other, but Rick was on his way. So I went over to the tent, and I asked them if anybody was inside. They started moving around. They opened up the tent, unzipped it about this far, and I said, would you mind coming out? I need everybody outside. Okay? They all got out of the tent. I think by this time Rick was there. We started having a discussion, and I told him, I said, we've been abundantly sympathetic to your situation, but we told you numerous times, over and over and over, that you can't sleep in the park. You can't sleep here. You're in violation of the ordinance when you're sleeping in the park or you're in the park after midnight. You can't live here. And now you're camped in a handicap parking space. Okay? Conversation went on. We don't have anywhere to go. That's when I noticed underneath the shelter, they had all of their belongings stacked up. Okay? It was neatly stacked up. No questions about that. They had blankets over their food stores and stuff like that. But what caught my attention was 2 Bud Light cans sitting there. And I asked them whose beer can it was. They said, it's the other guys. And there was 3 of them there. It was everybody. It was all pointing at somebody else. Not until today did I find out, Chief Kells, who found out who the beer actually belonged to, it really wasn't one of them. But at the time, the information we had to go on is there were beer cans sitting with their food stores and their blankets and their clothes and everything stored under one of the shelters. I told them, you know you're not allowed to have alcohol in the park. I said, we have no choice at this time but to trespass you from the park. And I said, do you understand what that means? And they kind of looked at me or whatever, and I explained what trespassing means. And I said, what I mean by trespass is we will give you time to get out of the park, off the city property, off the park property. Once you get off the park property, you start a process, but you will not be allowed back on park property at any time. If you come back on the park property, you will be charged with trespassing anytime you're on the property. That was the next course of action. We do the trespassing all the time. We primarily do it with the kids that we catch at the park, doing whatever they do. It's kind of a punishment we kind of do for the kids if they're selling marijuana, if they're whatever they're doing, vandalizing. The kids that set the stuff on fire in the sink at this time last year, we trespass those kids. We do it all the time. We usually let them pay restitution or do their community service or whatever, and then we'll let them come back into the park. But I explained to them what the trespass was, and then I started to walk away, and I told Rick, told Chief Kells, I said, I want these 3 trespassed from the park. Chief Kells went over and talked to him. I went to the back of my pickup truck where Ken and I and Barry were sitting there talking while Chief Kells was talking to him. I wasn't part of the conversation at that point. A few minutes later, Chief Kells came over to me and he said, do you mind if Barry and I take our vehicles outside the city limits? They want to go to Williamstown, so do you care if we take them either to Crittenden or to Williamstown and drop them off? And I said, did they, I don't have a problem with that if they want to go somewhere. I don't have a problem with it. So Chief Kells went back over. They started cleaning up their stuff. Barry went back to his truck and got a garbage bag or 2 to give to them so they could pick up their food, their blankets and things like that, their clothing. And then I think Rick and Barry helped them carry their stuff over and load it into the back of Barry's pickup truck. There was 3 of them. There was 2 gentlemen and 1 female. The 2 gentlemen got in the back of the police cruiser with Rick. The female got in the truck with Barry, and they went to where they asked to go. Whatever that conversation was, I didn't have that conversation. But after that, Ken and I went and picked 3 garbage bags full of all of the stuff that they left. Bottles, it was coffee cans, it was coffee creamer, it was there was a tent. We filled up the back of his truck, his service truck, with all the trash that had been left around. But Ken and I went down there and cleaned all that stuff up, and then we left. Now, Fast forward a couple days, we get a phone call from Channel 12 wanting to do an interview. And then everybody knows the story from that point. So, as I said when I first started, I know this is completely unorthodox, but is there anybody that has any questions about what happened with those folks that they want to ask me? And I will tell you everything that I know, which is pretty much just what I told you. But if not, we have to stop these rumors. All this is doing, this talk about burning the campers out, the homeless people out of the park, that's rubbish. I mean, that's just crap. And all that does is make the city as a whole look bad. It doesn't make me look bad. It makes everybody look bad. It makes all 6 of you guys look bad. It makes all of you who live here and love this community. So if there's anybody that has any questions about that incident, let's hear it. I'm going to give you the answer, and then we're going to put this to bed. Anybody? Yes?
What's your solution going to be?
I don't have a solution. I don't have a solution for homeless. Unfortunately, right now, we don't have any kind of services. Hope just closed their outreach program here. The only thing that we have is we can try to make contact with the homeless shelters. There's homeless shelters in Lexington, Georgetown, and Covington, but they stay full all the time. Kim Hobner will tell you she has tried to find places for people who are down on the luck. There aren't any beds available, but that's the best we can do. We don't have anything in the county, and we certainly can't afford to start any kind of programs like that. The big cities pay millions of dollars a year to do it. We certainly can't afford that. Anything else?
For the trespass from the...
Yes, sir. They were. That's correct, right? They were trespassed. And it was just those 3. Geneva.
They're on the website.
Yeah, I don't remember. Geneva was the female. I can't remember the other 2. But those were the 3. The 2 that were on television, Beach, I think was his name. And the other gentleman, which that was the first time I had seen him, was that morning. He was also trespassed. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time. But all right. So if there's no questions, good. Thank you. I'm sorry that was a little unorthodox, but all this was doing was making everybody look bad. Maybe we can start some good rumors. Dollywood or something. All right. Lake Polyog Dam update. I met with the state inspector last week, Thursday morning. He came out and took some pictures. I'm waiting on the official report to come back from him, but his answer was, let's watch it and see if it gets any worse. He said that the dam the dam was not built correctly. They built that dam 80 years ago, 75, 80 years ago. You know, it's lasted this long. I don't think construction was a problem. I'm not sure what the problem was, but that was his official thing, was just to watch it. His other option was to start bringing in dirt and, tear the fence out, the sidewalk out, start bringing dump trucks after dirt, and make it less steep so it wouldn't slide, which I don't think we jumped to that conclusion right yet. So, but his official thing was just keep an eye on it for now and see if it gets worse. That's all I got on that. Amy, do you mind taking over on the bid openings?
Just bear with me as I'm writing and
Well, then I'll just do it. We had the bid openings last Friday as advertised for the 3 projects we put out. One was the street paving. There's a copy of the minutes there for the whole bid opening. You're welcome to read. There were two bids that were presented. The first bid was from Eaton Asphalt. Get two. Higher bid. We should put that on the front page. Okay, so Eaton Asphalt bid was for $30,397. And Rigler, those were the only two bids that we received. The Rigler's bid was $23,900. Barry, I'll let you explain, because these were not apples to apples comparisons.
Now, Eaton included in their bid, put stone below the base after they dug the alley out the street. But they would add some stone and then 4 inches of base and 2 inches of surface. Rigler did not have that in their bid, and that was not in the bid specs either. Eaton added that in. The other thing is, Eaton said they could get it done this year, where Rigler's probably going to be in the spring before they can get the bid back up. But that was the only difference between the two bids, was having the stone put underneath the base.
If I understand correct, Eaton said they would do, or not Eaton, but Rigler, whose bid was cheaper, said they would do a test roll, a croup roll or something like that, to see the base integrity.
After they got it dug out, they would, yes.
And then they would either have to put in the stone at additional cost,
Right.
or be able to put it in.
Be able to put it in like it is.
So there's a possibility with this bid that there would be an additional cost for the subsurface, which would then put it close to the same.
It probably put them about 28,000.
How much stone's Eaton willing to put down?
I mean, what?
How many tons do they say?
Oh, they don't list tons, they just do about an inch, 4 inches.
They were going to do a 4-inch gravel base.
How much money do we get from the state now?
$42,000
A year?
Right now, that account has, if we looked at it, it has a little over 80,000 in it. It's the only thing that money's used for is for salt and just street repairs. It's something that we budget down to zero each year. That's just the way it's always been done. Last year we carried over about $30,000 of unspent money, and it's forwarded in this year. So that puts us right about 80,000 that line item has. And then in the regular public works department, the line item for road repair or for street maintenance in public works rather is 25,000. That's what has already been budgeted. So between the two, there's 70,000 that's allocated already in the budget for street repairs. So what's your thoughts on that? Do you want to proceed through with getting that done?
Did we ever discuss gravel, just a little gravel?
Did we discuss gravel?
Yeah.
Well, the thing with gravel is what the property owners were complaining about was not being able to get in and out in the winter time. You can't really scrape it good. They can scrape it, but they have to, you can explain it better than I can, but they can't put salt on it.
You can't put salt on a gravel road because it brings the mud up there to the room that you know what you have there now. Really all you can do is just scrape up the top of it with the plow.
So actually, it's cleaner than it.
Yeah, that must have been at the meeting that you were on, but, one of those meetings we went back and we researched all the deeds for those properties all the way back to the original plat, 1897, and it calls for that alley as a public alleyway, which by default,
Is it just down the back or is it somewhere around the
no, it's just down the back. There is nothing. And I was talking with some other folks that remember that, and it never did come between those these buildings to the best of their ability. It was always just straight down. And that coincides with all those deeds that we found. It doesn't say anything about coming back around next to that apartment building, it goes straight to the fence next to the school.
But then old people would park right there.
Yeah, they must have put that in after the fact. I think a picture we were looking at, Renifer and I were looking at earlier today, looked like there was a building or something there next to that at one point. So probably was a better road down through there. All right. What's the will of the council?
What do you think, Barry?
Both of them do good work. Huh?
So help us out here. I mean,
You gotta make the decision.
I
I'm
understand
just
it, but
gonna
I'm
tell you that
talking about-
both of them do good work.
we're looking at the base. Do you think that regular could end up having to put stuff
Yeah,
down?
no, till you get down there. Till you dig down.
Either way, it's touchy.
There's no way, I can't sit here and say, no, you're not gonna have to have it, or yes, you will, because I don't know what's underneath there.
And they're not
They
gonna-
both do good work. Eaton can do it this year, Rigler will be spring. And if Rigler does the stone, they're probably gonna be pretty close to what Eaton is, maybe $1,000, $2,000 off.
How many homes do you have?
5, yeah. But that's what we did out on Duck Island, when we had them put stone underneath out there. You don't wanna half-ass it and have it tear up in a few years. I mean, you might as well do it right where you're gonna do it.
My thought
But if
is
you're-
you're maintaining streets that in the city, so this here is actually a city street.
The best that we can tell it is the other little section is called Cross Street. And that's the little section that runs between the Christian church and there's other 3 houses. You know what section I'm talking about? That is deeded the exact same way, and the city has been maintaining that for 50 years. And Blacktop is deeded the exact same way as the other alleys, so I don't see why there would be an argument that that wouldn't be a city street or at least responsibility of the city. Now, the other street that come into question, the Jimmy King Alley, that's a completely different discussion. We can have that discussion. I really don't want to get those two intertwined.
Like I said, Eaton said they could get it done this year, and Rigler's gonna be spring. So,
In all fairness to them, they did bring the concern of, it is our street. I mean, I guess the difference is when we do go ahead of the snow, that snow that inevitably we're gonna get this year, or do we wait until next year and hopefully we get it now? Because their parking's on the backside of their house, so it's not like they can park on the street.
That's what the alley's for, is for access to those houses. They don't have.
I know there's one garage that's real close to that over property.
Let me go back to that meeting because I might have had more thing like that. What was your question? This is the section that we're talking about right here. Just actually exactly how the PVH has this marked off is exactly how all of the deeds for those properties refer to that section of property. As being the alley.
I just closer to actually.
Yeah, you talking about this one?
No, it's beaches.
Oh, Miss Beach's place here.
Not bad.
Yeah, I don't know if I can remember when I am there. If you look at this aerial view that we showed the last time, and here's a picture from 1951 of this alley in here at that time. And this is what we were looking at. I can't make this any bigger, but this building, if any of you know how that road is situated, it comes right between this house and that apartment building now, which I think was a pool hall back in the 50s. But it looks like there's some sort of a building between it, which would be where that road is now. So I don't think there was ever a time where this was, I think the alley just came right down in here and then the apartment.
What was the name of it?
This street, it doesn't have any. This is referred to as an alley.
No name
Says
street.
the alley.
The alley.
Which, yeah, we have to sign on. All right. Anybody need to see anything else on those? But Jim, if you get time, this is the original 1897.
Well, there's definitely needs, I can tell you that, it's needed for years.
Yeah.
So I'd move it and go ahead and do it, just even see it.
All right, motion, is there a second on that? All right, second, by one. All right, discussion?
And where's this money coming from?
Okay, the road aid fund had $42,125 that I believe was budgeted for road improvements. Give me a second. Okay, here's the budget for road aid. This is a pretty simple little budget. We take in about $42,000.
Is that what's in there right now?
No. Carryover was 79, or I'm sorry. The carryover was 37 that we budgeted, which gives us total appropriations of $79,340 in that account.
This should put all the streets in pretty good shape, shouldn't it?
I think there's only a couple things that we just got some hit and miss spots on. The only other thing that's in question that I've been asked about is at the end of Kings Heights, past the cul-de-sac, the little turnaround island there. There are 3 houses that's out there, same situation as the gravel lane. The city can't really maintain it. The difference there is it's not deeded as an alley. Those are all deeded as right-of-ways to the property owners. So they would have to deed that to the city. No, that's not a city road. That's the only other stretch road that I can think of. But the situation is not the same. They would have to deed it to the city for the city to pay it.
Do you have any plans for fixing the circle down there on Kings Drive where they pulled the tree? No, he's talking about the road. Circle, is that what you were talking about? The circle?
Very few. I haven't been out the circle.
Where the tree comes
It's where the big tree fell.
Yeah.
There's
I haven't been out there since the tree was.
Well, now that the tree's gone, everybody's cutting that corner sharper and it's made a
Okay.
big dip in there.
Did you
Holding
say?
water and hole there.
Yeah.
So do we need to do the same thing out there at Duck Island?
No, we need to have that, I don't know how you keep them from cutting it too sharp. I mean, it's wide enough now, but, it's where that tree was, like I said, they're getting in garbage trucks. It's probably garbage trucks, I don't know that, but remove that stump and possibly fill it in with some blacktop, just that hole right there. And that may be something Eaton can do while they're here. Maybe we'll add an extra cost to throw blacktop in there, I don't know. But if they've got any left over, which they typically do on jobs, we pay for it and might as well use it somewhere.
I'd say you do it.
Instead of letting them take it, put it in somebody else's driveway.
Yeah.
You know, I can take a Bobcat up there and spread it with a Bobcat, and of course it ain't going to be rolled with it. It's nice and finished product, but they got blacktop left over, we need to use it somewhere. So we're paying for it.
All right, any other discussion? All right, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Teresa? Yes. Jim?
Yes.
Kenny?
Yes.
Clay?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. We'll get Keaton tomorrow. I'm sure they'll have a contract, so.
Yeah.
Okay, item 3, bid opening, the archiving and codification. Amy, this is your wheelhouse, so I'll let you carry on.
We have American Legal who did for our codification. They have done the codification for the city in the past for as far back as I can see that the city had it done. What they sent over to us is pretty standard at what it was whenever I was looking into what it takes for us to get updated. Pretty much it's a per page price, that's why there's not a grand number on here. It's based on the number of ordinances that they need to go through. Not every ordinance is codified. Ordinances such as our budget are not codified. These are only items that are pertaining to law, and then they put those against statute to make sure that we don't have anything on our books that are contradicting state law with KRS, and make sure everything is there. It is required of cities to have this done every 5 years. It is one of our requirements. It's been a long time since it was done. When it was done, things were not updated for the things sent over. They did send me an updated electronic file of the last thing that they did, so I do have one that is updated. I am also suggesting that we go with the online service that they offer that allows you to search your ordinances. It will allow our citizens, actually anybody in the world. It is hosted on their website. There'll be a link from our website. But if you have something that you want to look on fence, you put in the word fence, and it will bring up every ordinance that we have regarding fence. And it will give you the information. I do not think at this point that we should pay the extra cost to encode our ordinances in it. There is an option where you can have the ordinance there, click on it, and it pops up with the ordinances right there. It's a nice feature. It's great for those of us that use it. The average citizen don't use it that much with the cost that goes against it. Maybe down the road it might be something, but since we already have ours scanned and linked on our website, it does give you the numbers, and it gives you everything that it pertains. Every ordinance that pertains to this topic will be listed there. You can come back and see the full ordinance on the website. So the codification, we have to get done. By statute, it's something that has to get done. These are the only people who bid. Theirs is going to be a whole lot less because if they had another company that come in who had to start from the beginning and go through, you're looking at a whole lot more than what they are. So if you wouldn't mind, I think if you go down a little bit, a couple more pages, they sent us some stuff. They also offer it for minutes. I don't think we're there right now, but here. So, this is what it tells you. You know, the top part is for reprinting. I don't need it reprinted. So we're looking at the update starting out to be at least $200 with that, and then any other additional items that we're going to have that's going to go with it for them to review. When I got everything out, I want to say that, bring our paper with me. We were looking at a few $1,000 is what they quoted over to us. It wasn't out of this world, but it is something that we do. It's where you start looking at your online that we're going to go up to it. You know, they have an initial $550, and then it is $495 a year. Now, I would suggest that we update yearly. I don't think you should wait 5 years to update, because they do find things for us. If we've set something in ordinance that goes against law, they find it for us and they give us the suggestions. I wouldn't update every time that we get one. I would say on an annual basis, we do it in January, we do it in July, whatever we decide to do, we send stuff over. They codify us, they get us updated, they update the website, and we move forward.
Alright, so this was the only bid that we received.
This is the only one on codification for us.
And they do it for us.
And they are the company that have been doing it for us, correct?
But it's kind of open. It hasn't been done. I think the last codification was
90 something.
Yeah. It hasn't been done in quite a long time.
Yes, like I said, we're required every at minimum 5 years.
We found out about this when
I started going to class. I've been in contact with them over the last several months, trying to figure out what's it going to cost us, what's it going to do, what does it take to get this going, so that way we can be in compliance. The other portion of the bidding that we had was from Imaging Office Systems. One thing that we also need to do is we have permanent records that need to be digitized and put on record with the Deputy Department of Library and Archives. If something were to happen to our building, we are still responsible for producing our minutes and our ordinances. Those are items that they're considered permanent records. At no point can we ever get rid of them, and we're responsible for making sure that they're in good standing. One way to do that is to, you have to have them microfiche. That is what the Department of Archives deems an okay format to have done. They are on file with them, and then if something were to happen to our records, heaven forbid we had a fire in the building, we have a tornado, our records were destroyed, they will reproduce those via microfiche to us, so that we would then have the records. They are certified that they are our records, and they have to go through a specific process of getting digitized and putting them on microfiche, and they approve them. We only had one company that has done this. It was in the 90s, the last time this was done. This is even older than the codification I have found. So we have lots that need to be updated and codified, or archived with this. But this is the only company for everything that we have right now. You know, the project at 740, I don't think that that's bad at all with them getting on there, and they guarantee the acceptance by the Department of Libraries.
Will they microfiche all of our minutes from the past as well?
So whatever's
Part
not-
of them are
Whatever-
already
okay,
done. Yes, so
whatever
whatever.
from the 90s on it.
Yes, so from whatever point that is done, they will move forward with all of our ordinances, minutes, and resolutions. And I know from the Department of Libraries, we've gotten with them, they've told us what we have. The one thing is we all have to be on their own roll, is what they call them. You can't combine it, which brings up your cost, because they have to have microfiche for each thing. The Department of Libraries only deals with a certain number of companies. This is one of them that they do right now. And the Department of Libraries used to do the microfiching. You used to be able to send your documents, and they don't do that anymore. They only store them. They don't actually bring them microfiching.
Anyways, both of these things fall under, or we believe they're going to fall under the bid requirements. We're still going to put it out. So to let you guys saw these. The only thing that we didn't specifically set this up as a line item in the budget.
That is correct. We did not budget for this, on either one of them, to do that. So that would be an amendment, to the budget when we do that, in June.
And we usually do that cleanup budget, like she said, in June. And that's really just getting us back in line with after our audit, which coincidentally started today. I failed to mention that earlier, but our audit started today. They should be done tomorrow with their field, with the office visit, and we should have that back by December. But anyways, I just wanted to know, we're really not improving the cost amount. We're just knowing that there's going to be a budget amendment for whatever it is costing. Any other questions or comments? If you want to go ahead and approve this, we can. This isn't anything that's optional. This is required by statute. Or we could just do, follow suit since the 90s and not do it. But I don't think we have to.
I'm sorry, Mayor, I have to overrule you on that.
He's like, absolutely not.
That's not my suggestion. That's our only other option. Any questions on that?
And there, I was gonna say, there's one part of that that did not get bid. Nobody bid on it.
Oh, yes, our
Archiving
maps.
of the maps.
Yes, so that is something that we still have to do. Our maps that we have are considered a permanent record also. So we do have to get those digitized and get those put on microfiche. We have attempted to do that in office by scanning them. We would still have somebody do them on microfiche. It is ungodly time consuming, unbelievably time consuming, to try to get those scanned with the size of the document that we have, the number that we have, trying to then label them and put them in some kind of format to know what they are. We have attempted, but with the workload that we have and being the small office that we have, with just being 3.5 of us working at the front office with things, it's just not been feasible to be able to get us to do that. As much as I would love to say that we can tackle it and maybe get it, there's no downtime to be able to stand for weeks to stand and scan those documents, try to get it in. So we will have to find somebody to do that, because that is another item that is a permanent record.
If I understand the procurement ordinance correctly, once something is bid and no one bids on it, then we're not held to the procurement standards, so we can
Right, you put it
solicit a
out.
company.
Yeah, it's under the one anyway, so I'm up there.
Any questions on that? Would you like to approve that, or do you want to leave that open? Since we get to go through the process of bidding.
Was there a date they're good to? What date that it's good to, the bid?
I know on
Expiration date.
American Legal, I want to think American Legal is until the end of the year. Jimmy's office, I'm not positive. I know American Legal office is until the end of the year.
But it's something that's gonna have to be done. It's not an option.
Right, it's something that we have to do.
You know, it's, I don't know that we need to.
If not, we'll have to internally pull money around in the budget to pay for it, to pull it out of another line item somewhere else. Offset it later in the cleanup anyways. All right.
I mean, we need to do it, but it's under the bid.
It's under the bid now. I just didn't know if you just wanted to make it clean and say, yes, we know we're gonna go, it's gonna trigger a budget amendment. That we, I'm sorry, we don't know because it's a per page cost.
Right. I want to think that it's,
They had a price on there, was that per year, average cost per year?
are you looking on the American Legal one?
Then it was 700.
That was iOS.
Yeah,
That was the microphone.
That's the
Microphone
microphone.
setup.
It's because we know how much we got there, it's the other that's gonna be,
Right.
the coding is gonna be different.
And with that one, you're gonna wanna do that on a regular basis also, you know,
That's
ongoing. But, right, if there's been so many, you know, that's the problem, if there's so many backlogs. So hopefully going forward, if we agree that, you know, we wanna do it on an annual basis, while your fee's probably gonna be the same in the long run, you can break it up incrementally for budget, you knowing, hey, we need to get this done, let's budget for it, and we'll know what we have going forward.
Hey, to do that, would we need to do an ordinance on doing this every year, so it's in?
Yeah, it's already in statute, so
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
required.
That's what I'm asking. I mean, I know the statute, but it's been,
I just wanted to make sure we were all aware of what we had to do, and we went through that process. All right, moving on. Item number 4, bid opening for council AV. I alluded to it a little bit earlier, and I'm gonna let Brent go with this because this is in his spectrum, so to speak, but, this AV project is a little bit different. What this council chamber AV is basically, right now, currently we have the one camera that records the council chamber meetings. The microphone is actually inside the camera up there, so it doesn't pick up the conversations very well up here. It does pick them up, but it's kind of hard to hear. The biggest problem that we have is people that have hearing disabilities have a hard time hearing us talk. And I'm the worst for it. Sometimes I'll be soft-spoken. And that's one of these things, that's two of the biggest things that this AV bid does, is it puts I think it's 3 cameras in this room. 2 on that wall, just for example, 2 on that wall and 1 on this wall. It basically, and puts a microphone in front of each of the council members. This is what you would typically see in these kind of setups. And then whenever the person, whoever's talking, whichever microphone is picking up the person talking, the camera then are completely automated and they know the person is talking. So while I would be talking, the camera would be on me and it would be putting that out. The reason why Brent put this portion or this out to bid like this is because I didn't want to pay salary for a person to sit here on overtime to manually do that. I was trying to build it so there was a one-time cost instead of a reoccurring salary overtime cost, which, as you know, unless we offset salary somewhere, we would be paying an overtime rate and everything else that goes with it. So that's the reason why he put this out the way he did. Brent, I'll let you take over.
So like Jim said, it would put a total of 10 microphones, 1 in each front of everybody that are wired, and 1 wireless one for the podium. It also includes equipment that would be on the back end that controls it, and then also part that ties into the Bioptics and future Spectrum for us to broadcast it out. Some of it's needed because we'll run everything from here production-wise. Cincinnati Bell just gave us the channel, we have to do everything else with it. So all that ties into part of it, so the control of the scheduling, loops, whatever else is put on it.
The other thing that comes with the package is for folks that have a hard time hearing, it comes with 4 portable units that a person can put on. It's kind of like what a lot of the churches have. So you can actually wear the headphones, wear a set of headphones, and you can hear what's actually being said. It also does include that, so that puts it in compliance with ADA.
Basically what it was is we figured out what we needed in the system and talked to the company to help engineer what was going to be needed. Some of this stuff I can tell the name of it and guess what it is, but I'm not exactly sure on what all it is. Just some of it is production quality stuff.
So the bid price was $57,600. Okay, so
I'll say, the bid price was the 57.6, and then we've already got the check last year from Cincinnati Golf for the 17,000. So that'll drop it down to 40. It was not budgeted, and then hopefully here soon we'll be getting one from Spectrum when they do their franchise agreement. So I'm not sure on that amount either.
So what's the will of the council?
I don't think we need it itself. I think we got pretty good the way it is.
Now, I will say, I know our YouTube videos of council meetings do get a lot of hits. We got people subscribed to the channel that watch them. What was it, August, 936 hours of video got watched?
What, say that again?
936 hours of video.
I know our meetings are long, right, Casey? But they're not that long. So that just equates to a lot of people are watching it. So the biggest complaint about the videos, I'm not sure if anybody's watched the videos back, the biggest complaint that we hear is it's hard to understand the conversations because the microphone is there. Now Greg's got the best seat in the house. Is whenever if he and Diane are having a conversation with him, he records that conversation pretty well because they're sitting right there on the microphone. So, just so you know that.
I don't care.
Now you do.
Could be sitting over there.
Won't matter to me.
But that's been there for years.
Now, as I say, I know part of this is something we plan for in the future. And some of the equipment is a little bit more than what we do now. But the initial goal is to be able to do like the candidates one. Right now, it's only limited to this room. This equipment would allow us to actually take a camera off site, set it up wherever, and feed back in here and feed it out live. So if they're all in the park, we have to do the download, do something in school, they can automatically feed it back to us and push their stuff out.
This equipment is not that, right?
No, that's some of the back-end equipment, but not to do all of that.
All right. Questions, comments?
Is this similar to what Williamstown has?
I'm sorry?
Is it similar to what Williamstown has for their?
Yeah, except for what Williamstown does is they pay a person to sit in a control room to do it. So,
But you got access to the meetings on the internet, right, or on a website or whatever?
no, they don't do anything with their meeting other
You know what I'm
than,
saying? Is that what your plan is? To have it on YouTube or on something or what?
it would be to continue to archive them on YouTube, but then have them in the system where they're put out, where people could actually watch the broadcast, and then it would repeat on the cable.
That's what I was getting. I thought it might cut down on some of this McDonald's Waffle House conversations, that people could tune in to a meeting and actually see what really was said, not what was said at McDonald's or Waffle House. Don't think that would work.
That won't pick on that.
What it does do.
Some of them will still change the story around probably. You know.
What it does do there, Gary, is it does give another means for people to be involved with the operation and the governance of the city. You know, this isn't anything that's new. Most city councils are recorded. A lot of them are just recorded on tape and then played back. So even if you didn't have, very similar to what we do right now.
Okay.
The biggest problem is hearing them. If you've ever spent any time, if you have cable, either Cincinnati Bell or Spectrum, and the Spectrum only has Williamstown's cable on there, but and their peg channel lineups. But if any of you have fiber or Cincinnati Bell Fi Optics, you can watch about every city council meeting in Northern Kentucky at some point.
Only access to Cincinnati Bell, huh?
Yeah, because they have all of them. They put everybody on their system. You can watch City of Cincinnati's council meetings and all their budget meetings and all of their things if you have that. I guess what I'm trying to say is that this isn't anything new. This is kind of an older technology, but people do watch that. But that's all there is to it. But the big thing is that even if we didn't do the streaming portion of it, of what he's talking about, the biggest complaint that we have is that people like being able to go back and watch the videos to see what actually happened. But they have a hard time hearing, especially when people are soft-spoken.
I can't remember, what else do you see?
It shows all of the council members and the screen. What it doesn't show right now is the audience.
It does show something. I watch the YouTube channel a lot. It is hard to hear, and the automated closed captioning doesn't work because you can't hear what people say. So there's a lot of gibberish. It's hard to follow along sometimes. But also with this cable channel, you have, if I'm mistaken, you have potential for revenue. You can run advertisements on it, is that correct?
You could. We
Right.
obviously don't.
You could offset some of your costs by running advertisements for local businesses, things like that.
Probably similar to what Williamstown does. They do charge costs for advertisements if you want to run on their cable channel. You could do that, yes. But you would have to have the scheduling equipment, and I think that is what you did, right? Yes. Thank you. Anybody else?
Can we just add a few microphones?
Not with that camera, not the way that it is. That's not what it was designed for. It was a cheap solution. It was a $200 solution to the problem. And actually, that's been in here since 2006,
I'll say
2007.
2015, there's been one in here since about 06, but it got replaced with the newer model.
Yeah. That was part of the original Homeland Security grant. All right, any further action on this?
Looks like it does have an expiration of November.
Yeah, can we table this and look at it a little more? I mean, I hate to say this, but 55,000 is a lot. I mean, I'm not saying it's not needed,
That's fine.
but this would give us time to do a little more research on
I'm on table at one more meeting, but
it. I'm just saying, I don't know, it's,
it's a lot of money, like what I say.
I was gonna say, you're right, it is a lot, but it's like the mayor was saying, if you had someone in here to control it and or do all the different movements of the stuff that has gone during the meeting, you may drop it, but what are you gonna spend out on 24 meetings a year on overtime?
That's Williamstown's biggest thing. After talking with them about why they don't broadcast all of their meetings, they only broadcast one of their meetings. It's because of the cost. They only pay overtime for one person, for one meeting a month.
I was saying, I know they used to do the fiscal court too, but the cost of somebody going up there to record it, especially when you're stopping the fiscal court meeting.
All right, so was that a motion, Ron?
I mean, I think we just need to look at it a little more. I would feel better about it if we were able to do a little more research. So I'll make it
Is that a motion to table or is that a motion to table for next meeting?
till next meeting. Since there's a date on this, we need to, then we'll have to make a decision. That gives us 2 weeks to look at it.
I think as long as you bring it up at the next meeting, I think you can put it back on the table. For the next
If you
meeting.
would concede his motion at the next meeting, it automatically will be on the agenda for next meeting. If you did not, you just said you want to table it, and then so you bring it up, if you did not bring it up at the next meeting, then it would die.
There's no way you can make it cheap.
Well, I don't know the answer to that question. I just know it was in the bid.
I was gonna say, because the way he did it was a turnkey solution. They come in, they install everything. Took that out, but I don't know what that would be. Taking somebody else to do it.
I mean, for $2,000, you could buy some microphones and some speakers, and they'd probably pick it up, Maybe $48,000 or
I
so.
don't think the big expense was the microphone.
The big expense is going to be your camera. That's a third. That's if it's production quality, if I'm not
Scrolling down, is there still the other page there again?
See, I don't know if think this is, since it's the first thing listed, I think it's probably,
It's automation controller and the digital playback, the switches, 3 cameras.
all right, well, there's a motion to table. Is there a second to table it? Okay. So, tell you what, will you two work with Brent and see if you can't come up with, get some background? Anybody that wants to.
That's one of
Okay. So there's a motion to table and a second. All in favor? Okay. That's unanimous to table to the next meeting. And I guess in the meantime, you guys can work with Brent and this distribution. Okay. New business. I think this is what most of the people are here for. At the last meeting, we talked in great detail about North Main Street, the parking situation, and then we talked about the parking as a whole. I have those pictures here if you wanted to see those, but you have a copy of this in front of you. I only printed 10, so I don't know if there's any more copies of this available, but if somebody wants to have mine, they're welcome to it. There might be. I only printed 10, so I know 8 of them are being used up here. So, but somebody's welcome to mine if you want to look through it. But this is kind of the starting point for this. I know Brent and Pete collaborated, and Ron, I think to some extent, collaborated on this, and they mashed up Independence and Danville, so as not to reinvent the wheel. And I'm going to let you guys talk, because I haven't played a role in this one. So
I'll let you make a lead.
Well, I looked at Independence to begin with, and mentioned that to the mayor, and I think even provided a copy of it. And then Tank had the same thing, and he did most of the putting it together. We tried to take out stuff that didn't apply, we didn't think would apply here, but obviously we erred on the side of leaving anything in that we thought we might need, even if we thought it was a chance we wouldn't. I know that he highlighted a couple of sections that we thought, well, for one, I didn't know if we needed, I didn't think we necessarily needed a definition section unless somebody, thought of something that might require that to be spelled out. There was a few things that maybe people are more familiar with the roads we weren't sure about, like number 2 there. Was it 6 inches in one or 8 inches? I thought I saw at any rate.
It could have been 10 or something.
Or 10. See, one was different than that, but it just talks about wheels need to be close to and parallel with the curb. I thought it was very specific. We talked about loading and unloading, or the vehicle pulls onto a sidewalk, block something for about 30 minutes. A lot of this stuff is, I think, pretty straightforward, plain vanilla. The number 6 there was one of the ones that we all agreed probably would merit some discussion. It should be unlawful for an unhitched trailer or uncoupled trailer drag. I'm not sure what a drag is. I'm sure somebody else does. Or a truck trailer shall be left standing unattended on any streets. In other words, you couldn't just pull up with a trailer, unhitch it, and take off and leave it there indefinitely. That's something, especially considering the stretch that triggered this discussion, probably needs some discussion. I don't know, Jimmy, do you want an overview, or do you want to hit these as we go?
This was really just discussion more than action on this. This was something you guys talked about, or we all talked about the last meeting. I do want to take something back. I did have a little bit, there was one thing that I did make a recommendation to. I know we talked about this in the last meeting in some detail, which was the time for allowable parking. And I think there was an amendment to reflect such that you made it 4 hours. I would prefer to see this at 24 hours than to a 4-hour block or something like that, just so that we take that that out of the question, because I know there was a question about somebody bringing a vehicle in for repair. And since there isn't any other parking, we surely don't want to ticket them for a vehicle that needed to be repaired. Or those kind of things. So I was just suggesting 24 hours. Plus, a lot of the apartments have tenants, and that might be the only parking space for those. So I think 4 hours, even 4 hours was kind of short. 4 hours came as a recommendation, if you don't remember, from Daryl, who owns the tattoo parlor shop. He had recommended 4 hours because that's typically as long as clients would be on for a tattooing session. Originally, I think they were talking about 2 hours. And he asked that it be 4. I really think it should be more than that. It should be 24 hours. I think Independence was 72 hours.
Yeah.
And that becomes a hard one to enforce. You know, when you're stretching over multiple days.
This is for both sides of the street. Right?
This is for all
It's for
all
streets.
So you say that on the Pinewood, they pull in, right? You say that both white cars have these.
Yeah, there's a section that talks about that going down in.
B4, section 3B4, section, yeah.
B4?
Section 3B4.
Yeah.
Talks about how the city can do that, it can do diagonal
I saw
parking.
the ones that
Because
do right car.
the other place that does that is the church.
Also, the Church on Walnut, Meadowview, BC Cotton,
Yeah,
those are all pulled themselves.
And I think Chief Kells, you know, that was a concern of his. He mentioned time when obviously those folks are often going to leave their cars there all day, all night, they have to run to work or whatever. So that sprang in part from discussion with him that it probably need to be at least 24. As the mayor said, Independence at 72 seemed a bit long to some of us, maybe not to you guys. But that was kind of the rationale for that. In terms of the time frame, I mean, you guys can pick whatever you want, of course.
It's right car, so nobody can pull across.
Yeah. Not here, I don't think. Not here, I don't think, but, yeah, right, and actually, you said that, I did not realize, yes, this would mean, if you're driving down the street, yeah, you don't cut over across traffic and head the opposite direction. Again, which I don't know, doesn't report, but, yeah, it would eliminate, that would be a violation, yeah. And that's probably not a good idea, especially in the discretion of the office, to do something like that. Jimmy, I think the mayor, sorry, above 5, or B5. Yeah, I'm just trying to remember the stuff that I knew merited some discussion. Operator of any vehicle parks at any part of the vehicle shall extend beyond the marked lines assigned for one vehicle, except that a vehicle may use 2 spots if they are, you know, hooked up to a trailer or something, which commonly happens there around, I think it was here, and the others up there. So, yeah, that would be allowed for if you were towing something. Then that's not what those aren't people. What they're probably trying to address.
Let's see, what's this one in question? She's saying.
That one was highlighted, Pete.
Yeah.
The way Independence had those worded, it just said of a control signal. When I actually looked at KRS, it says located at the control signal at the side of the roadway. So it's like if there's a flashing light for the school and there's parking on the side of the street, it has to be 30 feet between the parking spot and that sign, or the stop sign.
So that's a statute.
Right.
Yeah, that was a question that I had and that and Peg actually looked up for me. Yeah, that was one of the I think the reasons for that are obvious. There was something in here, I don't think it made a final version, and I don't know if it was taken out for a reason or if it needs to be in there, but snow emergency language is in.
I think I took it out, we already have an ordinance on that.
Okay, addressed elsewhere, okay. All right, because I was looking for it in the front of it, okay, so we've already got that, all right.
That one right there was highlighted, because Independence has theirs was codified. It said set forth in chapter 90 for the abandoned vehicles. said in your video, we maybe could say that as adopted in the nuisance ordinance, because it covers abandoned vehicles.
Yeah, we would point to our applicable ordinance section. And I would maybe just point out again that we had a big group discussion in here back in March or April, where the mayor had asked, and I think everybody attended with that stretch of North Main that again has triggered this discussion. And it really kind of at that point, because of the issues with Pinewood we've discussed before, kind of had said, okay, you guys, you want to figure out what you want to do again, because Pinewood had some decisions to make. And maybe come back and let us know what you would like to see done, what you could live with, or what you really didn't want. But if we don't get anywhere taking that approach, then the council's probably going to address it. And we're addressing it because we didn't get anywhere with kind of letting them see if they could work it out and come to us with a proposal.
The other thing that this will address is there's been complaints on Brentwood Road of people parking the street there. So this will also address those areas as well.
Yes, yeah,
Since it's a complete city ordinance, that way we can, this is basically a cover-all.
So are there any ordinances on the books right now that deal with parking?
There was that one that I found that was extremely vague.
Yeah.
Besides no parking on Broadway from 25 to Waffle House.
Yeah.
But the other one said, I think Main Street, it was extremely vague in how it was worded. Not even a half page of ordinance.
Yeah, none that really helped us.
Any other sections on there?
I was gonna say, I didn't highlight it, but the one go up one more, yeah. L, I think. So it's parking, whatever we have to put down. L. Right there.
Yeah, that was the one.
Up one more.
Section right there. Yeah, this is another thing I looked at.
Independence had theirs at 1 ton, but when I started realizing how many people already have 1 ton trucks, I moved it up to 2.5.
What's the purpose of setting a weight limit?
So you don't have semis in residential areas. Park on the street.
Yeah, and tearing up the
Road, because the road back there is probably not constructed to handle that much weight.
And those of you that know much more about vehicles than I do, maybe that you'd have a better idea of what an appropriate weight limit, which would obviously correspond to the size of the vehicle. Would be.
Seems kind of light.
It means nothing to me. I don't know if that's light or heavy.
Well, I was gonna say, I knew it at 1 ton, but I wasn't sure, so I Googled pictures, and every picture I got was a big, large military truck.
I think part of this is that's not actual weight. I mean, it's like my truck's a 3/4 ton truck, but it weighs 5,400 pounds. So I mean, whatever. I think it's basically the way that it's the guys' trucks that they use are, I'm assuming, 1 ton trucks. You go any bigger than that, it becomes a box truck. It's not basically looking at pickup trucks or actual quote unquote weights. It's
now really other than skimming over this, here's the only thing I see with that. That's going to be impossible to regulate. You would have to have scale. You're going to have to put weight on it.
That needs to be rewrote.
Yeah, I think if you keep that,
Or maybe you don't even, you could just get rid of it. Again, like I said, at the outset, we erred on the side of leaving stuff in that we thought might be.
I mean, and it says there it's on what's considered a residential street defined in the area where it's a majority. So I mean, if there's a semi downtown, it wouldn't fall into that.
Right. Yeah, this is a lot of no impact on the area North Main we've been looking at.
And this is basically regular.
I think the hours is going to be hard to afford. Somebody parks and they leave or run to their own, grab rumors, and they come back and park again.
I'll say what's usually be done, Jim, is you'll somehow mark the tire.
Yeah.
Or you'll put like a penny or something or a bottle cap, or I know that's how Covington does it. They'll say they'll mark the tire at a certain, like 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock. If it's moved, they know it's moved. So I mean, basically if you back up, go around the block, come back, same place, if it's moved, they say we moved it.
And obviously, looking at this, we're well aware that somebody may, move it down a little bit to kind of defeat the purpose. Depends on how tight you guys want to be with it.
All right, so let me keep this on target, so we're not having 10 conversations, guys. Let's reel it back in, one conversation at a time. But, all right, so what we asked for at the last meeting, I think, was put something on paper so we can look at it. I am not in any way, shape, or form looking for passage of anything tonight, but I thought we could kind of use this as kind of discussion time to kind of do this. Do you want to take input from, there's a lot of people from North Main Street here, does council want to hear their inputs on this? You guys want to do it as a,
Has she not resolved any of the issues over at Pinewood? Because her issue with everybody else parking there that is on the opposite side of the street. I think she's pretty much resolved that.
She has agreed to let it all be public parking, so it's all going to be covered under this. She's not going to make any private parking, which meant she had to go up into her yard more, and she's not.
I mean, nobody else is parked. None of, like, flower shop, Timmy, or Pie, or any of my guys are parked on that side, so she shouldn't have issues with, there shouldn't be any parking issues for Pinewood like there used to be, because, we all, my guys come over there, couldn't find a parking spot, they park off the road, or Timmy, or whatever, Daryl.
Well, here's the thing, I'll let you guys answer this too, but I kind of listened to all the conversations during the days, back and forth between all the parties, but a lot of the complaints is the RV park up there.
Yeah.
It's boats with trailers, it's the truck that was involved in the accident.
Well,
A lot of complaints come from people turning off of Warsaw Avenue that cannot see to turn right. And there's absolutely nothing right now that the city can do to enforce anything other than just ask for volunteer cooperation, which is what has got us to this point. So, you have to answer specifics. It's more than just people parking in front of Pinewood is where it's going to come from.
I'll reference what was brought up to me was there was a problem on Brentwood. People parking in the street out there. We don't have an ordinance to enforce anything. The school buses were having a problem. There was a rig down at the end of the street that was parked. They couldn't turn around, so.
There's an ordinance from 1960, number 188, that prohibits parking on city streets, not including Broadway and Main Street, with a fine of $3 to $10.
Yeah, and this is the thing. It was so vague because we looked it up. We looked all these up. it was horribly vague, and Greg will tell you, he doesn't want to go out and cite somebody up for that because of the fact that it is so vague. And this is just a fix to a problem and this is why we're here trying to figure this out. We have to do something, but I can, like I said, people have come to me. I work for the school bus garage. They've come to me 3 or 4 times already complaining. The buses are having problems going down Redwood Brent. People are parked on the street. We can't tell them to move because there's nothing that says it. Because of the way that other ordinance was wrote was very simple.
Any comments?
I'm not saying it reads pretty clear to me.
Rick, maybe you can enlighten us on that.
A lot of times, though,
they've never been, I guess you'd use ratified by council. They might have voted them up in there, nobody ever voted on them. Nobody went back and revisited them. It was too obsolete and too vague. You know, it's not clear. You gotta have a little bit more detail on it. Because you might have some guy doing the same thing, he might be okay. And this guy right down the street, you may say he's in violation. And all he gets is a bunch of finger pointing. This way you're not gonna have that. It's gonna be clearly defined what you can and what cannot do. And that will apply to everybody equally.
What about at the north end of North Main Street? How's the parking, how would this affect you up by your shop?
I just want to make everybody happy.
You're here,
On North Main, it wouldn't affect me.
the parking is tough at your shop.
Well, it wouldn't affect, North Main, going up the bypass, we park stuff across the street there. We're 30 foot away from well, it's not technically a flashing light, but it's common sense that we don't park on down, and block, the view on down, North Main. But I don't know, it kind of looks like, it's going to affect us a little bit. I don't care, I'll go park there, simple. Or if we park a customer's vehicle or our own across the street, we can easily move it at the end of the day and put it back in our lot. I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah, I think Pinewood's more or less settled down. I mean, we're getting over it now, but because of the way it's laid, we're going to probably work out some easements and agreements with that property, so it doesn't,
What's that? Well, all of that would be on him, there's no parking. Is that right away? Yeah. It would have to be in the right of way for us to enforce it. If it's on private property, it's up to them. That brings up another question. Would this also roll over into publicly owned parking spaces, i.e. the park properties or our own properties?
There's a specific section about parking.
But there is parking spaces.
Scrolling up some,
I did see something about that.
Parking J.
Okay, so I just didn't know if this would affect parking in public spaces. Yes, sir.
What about the parking down in front of Daddy's old garage where they're blocking the sidewalks and nobody can get through?
We kind of talked about this a little bit, which is let me bring you a picture up. This was just a sample of what that might look like. So what you're talking about would be here. If you put it back to the way that the parking was at the last meeting when we talked about this in depth and showed all of the pictures from the 50s in comparison to today, based on the pictures in the 50s, it looked like these were parking spaces. Actually, it looked like they were all slant parking spaces.
That was over in front of the hotel.
Yes, yeah, right over here where these are slants.
On the north or west side of the street, it was all just like you got shown there.
Right. So this is the way it would go back to, so that you didn't block a door in front of this building and a door in front of this building. You would designate there's no parking. And then this was and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this was all no parking right through the show, or the lot, right?
Right, well, Dad had gas pumps and it was open for people pulling in to get gas. We serviced the dang straight lines and a lot of the big trucks would come in and buy gas.
But if we designate this as no parking, then they would still have access to that front of that, and then start the parking here. The greens are the ones that we would add, the yellow ones, which are kind of hard to see here, are the existing ones that are already there now. So there's something kind of like that.
And the other thing would be is that we would make sure that to set the sidewalk, to paint lines for the sidewalk, they should be there. Now we go the whole length of that.
And that's gonna be tricky, but that is addressed in there about the parking on.
I think it's really gonna address Ollie and Kenneth. Is where I think it's gonna be, and that's, I know it's a safety issue, and it's
So the car that parked across the street there at Pinewood, what's the difference with our jet skis out in front of our shop? That's just a safety issue. Yeah, well, they have a sidewalk in there.
Yeah, there's a sidewalk
Or a
here.
crosswalk there, and there's a sidewalk.
The problem on this side is there is no sidewalk. Originally, the sidewalk was along this building. I know you guys weren't here for the last presentation, but the slideshow is still up there. It's actually on this agenda too. Ron, can you give us one? Right. If you look at where it was in the 50s, where the sidewalk was and where the parking was, this is in the picture taken from relatively the exact same spot. Here's another one. This is in front of Polly's shop. This is what that same picture would look like today. And then this is side by side. So as you can see, it's clear where the parking was and where the sidewalk was. I know those aren't the best pictures. There's a sign that would be Timmy Beaver's shop right now. That's the same location where he's parking his truck at, is relatively in the right location where the 2-hour parking sign would be.
That sign was in front of the alley between Dad's building and the grocery store.
Yeah.
And I used to laugh when I when I found that picture and saw that 2-hour parking. I forgot about the sign being there.
Yeah. And then, of course, this is a good picture showing that there wasn't parking there, but it was kept open. For I guess dropping off new cars and whatnot. Still looks the same today, but there's no enforcement of parking anymore. So
I know we discussed this briefly on the last meeting, but are there going to be improvements made between the parking and the buildings for the sidewalk?
well, the only thing that we would be able to do is mark it off. I wouldn't advocate tearing all that out and pouring concrete back there. For whatever reason, the asphalt's got overlaid the sidewalk somehow over the years. That's probably one of the best picture of what that space looked like. Yeah, the right of way.
Yep.
The right of way is pretty much right on those buildings, so it would all be enforceable. I think that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, just I don't know if he had it handy, but I know in the past we've had, show exactly where the right of way runs through there, and it's moved over the years.
It's there. It's where this black line is. I can't make it any bigger, but basically where these black lines are is where the right of ways are. And where it became an issue over here is the right of way split the parking spaces. Part of this was well on the Pinewood property, and part of the vehicles was in the right of way. And that's where a lot of the conversation came from, is If she wanted to continue to have this as Pinewood only, she would have to move it out into the grass so that no part of the vehicle was in the public right of way, which would have been, on the inside of that line. And I think that just became too costly for her to do that.
Years ago, those parking in front of where you're just talking about, it didn't even come out close to the right of way. I don't know what's happened, whether the cars got longer or what, but I know I used to park down at the far end, down there where Ivy Leaf Forest is now, my own personal car. That's when it was under the hotel.
Yeah. Now, this is the only thing, I do have a question about this. Maybe this one parking space right here is coming out of this whatever you want to call it, private driveway, because it's not a city street, it's not an alley, it's a private driveway that's part of this property. You can't see the turn right or left very easy out of here. So
Right.
I don't know a good way to address this, because when the Citizens Bank was down there, when it was here, people would park right there. I parked there myself to go inside. And it
But
made
you
it
were
hard to
close.
turn on there, so.
You were close, right on the right of way, right there in front of the bank.
Yeah.
Well, I park there every day. I try to stay as close to that curb as I can, and I hate just about every day, honestly.
Yeah. You almost have to stay out of the fog line. Like on it, so. Right. What else do we need to see?
Yeah, swimming pool.
All right, any other discussion on this? All right, do you guys want to take a look, just make some notes to this and come back? Do you want any other public input on this, or what do you want to do?
Well, I know we talked before, we had a work off, we had that, there's gonna be empty spaces here.
No parking?
Is that right?
Yes.
Is there only one space or two?
In by KRS, in here it shows 30 feet. That's because of your manufacturing, so.
Because that's what I was thinking, I was thinking.
I had one space in there, that's what I had marked in red. It's kind of hard to see on that, but that's actually red. I just marked it off, but that 30 foot might bring it up there, might change the number of spaces to
Yeah.
I was saying, what's marked off right now, Barry, what, 10, 12 feet? Down there?
Yeah, those 16 feet.
It's somewhere around there right now.
All of these parking spaces are already here. I mean, they're already there. We're just really talking about being able to set this off like what you're asking, the no parking up there.
That's my biggest point that I get, is coming out there and I can't see. So they have, they have to pull out park on the road.
And I know there's been accidents right here just recently, pulling out here, so.
Yeah, it's because when there's a truck parked on the end there, you can't see past, like on the Pinewood side, I think there's a truck parked there, you can't see past it. But there's a truck parked three in, it's a lot easier to see it. It's just usually if there's a truck there, it's not a car. Because we pull 5 people on and get them out of there.
You said, those are you to have like compact cars only, or what do you see that?
Good idea, yeah.
There's something else that we probably need to address in somewhere through here, we probably need to designate a handicap space. And I'm not really sure where.
That should be up to her, shouldn't it?
Not that's gonna be
Not
ours.
necessarily.
If they're showing public.
But we probably should.
I would say we've got it planned and zoning so many for different stuff.
I'm sure they have something.
Yeah, cross that out.
There's something in planning and zoning, but with that down there area being central business, has no off-street parking required. So it's not really, but I mean, I would say at least 2 or 3. 'Cause I think she said she had at least 3 with handicap placards there.
Well, but there's apartments on the other side too. This,
Correct.
Daryl has rehabbed this building, got apartments up top, and I think he's moving the tattoo shop over here into the bottom. part. So that's gonna open up for Ms. Wells here to maybe add more apartments. I'm not sure just what her plans are, but there are a lot of tenants, so she's got parking back there, so. Okay, any other questions, comments on this? All right, you guys wanna take a look at this and just put this up, or do you wanna do some kind of action on this tonight? I think you really should take some time to look at it. I think so too. I think you need to take a look at it. Get the will.
First thing you're gonna do is open the Pandora's box again, and be an alternate
All right. Anything else?
Oh, we can talk about this intersection.
I would suggest.
The county court is what we're doing.
If you guys want, I mean, again, if you wanted to get together more, you could caucus, you could have a caucus meeting on it where you wouldn't take any action if you wanted to do that. That's the only other way if you guys can all get together, is to do it as a caucus meeting. All right.
We're making it down.
Only three. All right. No idea.
I got Jim and I heard first.
All right. All in favor? Motion carries. We're adjourned.
Bobby,